Hello and welcome. I'm gonna do here a review of a duo table by Pack NW Gamer. I'm going into this blind, so need to see a bit. So it's 6 max. Here we have in the cutoff King Queen middle pair against two other people, basically the blinds. Looking at the pot size, I assume we raised and we got two colors. Seems fine to raise there in 6 max, same here. I tend to raise a bit lower, but I think 17 is fine, doesn't really matter. Here it gets checked to us. I think this is a standard c-bet, a bit above half, yeah. Seems good. We're gonna get called by some flush draws as well, so if we get called, it doesn't automatically mean that they have an ace. So if we get checked to us on the turn again, I'm willing to bet here again. But it folds to us. I think the c-bet there is standard. We can rep the ace, we have a decent hand. Apparently it's zoom though, so we can never get a read on our opponent. 5-4, or zoom is obviously PokerStars, I know what the name is in Pavada. So we have a limp pot, we have a gut shot here, we're out of position, check and then fold I guess here. Okay, so here there's not a lot of cards we're willing to see, we're out of position. Sure, there's the deuce that makes us nuts, but then if it's a deuce of spades, we still don't know anything. So there's like 3 outs, which is 6%. And even then, are we gonna get bait with it? I think I just check fold, and if you wanna actually be, if you actually wanna do something here, you should lead out on the turn, I guess. Then, but then we check again. Like, this is an ultimate scare card for him, right? He could have an ace, it's a spade. Like, leading out on that turn would have been better if he wanted to bluff at this, because this hand is just bluffing, right? Like, without the deuce, we have to have another line of play that makes the 5 good. So I would actually bluff at the queen, wrapping a flush, because you would play a flush the very same, a flush draw the very same way on this flop. You check call, and then when it comes in, you should value bet like 14 or something, like 2/3 of the pot. And then he folds an ace, decent amount of time. He could have nothing. He could have just, you know, tried to steal. Like, he limped pre, he could have just hit a 9. I think leading on the turn here to steal the pot is better if you wanna float with a 5-4 out of position on the flop anyway. But if he bets here now, right, we're folding. Yeah, I think we should lead ourselves and try to take the pot. Like, we're just fishing there to 6%, 3 outer basically. Jack 4. Let's see what to do there. We have a limp before us, another limp, yeah, just a fold. Even though it's suited, the Jack 4 is the trouble hand to play. Good fold. 4-7 had a min raise. Good fold. 5-4 again in the small blind. Let's see what we do with it this time. Previous time we had it in the big blind, so... Whoa! This is interesting. Like, a guy opens shoves, we have ace king. This is Povda. What's actually the name? Like, it's zoom in a zone. Apparently it's called zone. Okay, got it. So this could be representing a lot, and I don't think people do this with worse than ace king. Like, ace queen wouldn't shove there, so I think we should fold ace king there. It's just not worth it. We have to pay, like, we have nothing invested in this hand. We have to pay 295 and it's only 7 extra, so if we're in the flip, we're actually losing money on this in the long run, because the 7 cents don't make up. And people say it's a flip, but if you have ace king against the pocket pair, you're actually underdog, like 48, 52, depending on the pocket and the suits. It could be worse, and that's at best. Like, if he has aces, we're doomed. If we have kings, we have 34.1%. So I think this is a fold. Like, sure, ace king is a nice hand, but we should fold this. Let's see what it does. What we do here. Wow. I guess that's it's fine then. I just don't think it's worth the risk though. Like, sure, he can shove, but like, normally, why would people do that? It makes no sense. We have no history on this guy. We have no clue if he does that often. Sure, we have blockers, but even against queens, we're not that good. I don't see people doing that with ace queen like they should. It's just bad poker, and there's no need to run the risk there with ace king. Like if we had queens or up ourselves, or maybe even a pocket pair like tens, I would make the call. But ace king is, I think, is a bit too narrow. Sure, the guy had queen 10, but even then, we lose money on it, right? No, we don't lose money on it, but it's pretty close because queen 10 against ace king is 60-40. Let's check it out. Ace king, it was offsuit against queen 10 was offsuit. Well, we actually haven't crushed. Well, so I guess that's fine. But if you look at the range, you can put a guy like this on, like ace king and tens and up, which I would put on against ace king, and we evaluate. You see that we're an underdog. I wouldn't make the call. Sure, if you add like some suited connectors maybe, and then 2 bluffs. I guess they do it with deuces as well. And we should add the bluffs at 7 deuce. People love bluffing with 7 deuce. And then we're pretty close, but we're still losing money. The more bluffs you add, of course, the more we get. But I don't think it's a call worth making. Just fold the hand and move on to the next one. I mean, if you think the guy is raging or something, but you have no read on him. So here we have pocket queens. We have a limper in front of us. 6-3 suited. Fold under gun is fine. We then have a raise. 15 is a bit low. In a limp should be 20. I'm curious how much we're gonna raise. We're just gonna pot it, I guess. Pocket 5, 17. Oh, that's why we go to 17, because it's pot. I think 70 is a bit too much. Like 65 would be better, but I think 70 is fine. Now if this guy goes over it, I'm willing to fold queens, by the way, because he doesn't, but it's a limper. It's a bit shady. I consider it shady, and he could slow play aces and kings like that. This guy shouldn't have it. Like, he should fold here end time, because he limped here. Sure, we're never folding here, dude. Like a weak ace, yeah. And we flop the nuts, only an ace, and doesn't get there. Nice. Like, yeah, I think that's standard. Like 70 is fine. If we want to go for pot, I would go like 65. Then on this flop we're getting it in anyway. Like, the guy hit 2 pair and we had a set of queens. But he can't call because he had no stack. I found it surprising that he called first. Like, this guy is a bit shady. Like, if he 4-bets us, I'm willing to fold my queens, which seems odd. And this guy, sure, he raised, but it's not a lot. He has like ace jack, ace 10 maybe. This guy just flatting there. Like, he has junk. As I said, a weak ace probably, and he did. Jack 4 under the gun folds. I think for now it's all pretty solid play. Ace king, yeah, raise it up. I'm not sure why we go 17, but I mean it's fine, and it's just not. Okay, so here we get 3 bets and a call behind that, and we have ace king out of position. I wouldn't mind a 4-bet, to be honest. His 3-bet is a bit on the heavy side, although we'll win 70 ourselves, and 85 is fine, and I guess 58. I think we can 4-bet to make a squeeze. This guy probably has like ace queen, and this guy has like jacks or something. That's what I'm putting him on. Like, if we raise here, he has to be scared of what this guy has. And then if he flats again, we probably have a better raise, and we only have to be scared if when a queen comes on the flop. So I'd 4-bet this, and then be willing to get it all in here. We can also just flat, but I don't like. And don't shove, man. Just one. Like, what do we do when we shove, right? We're like, okay, I'm willing to risk all my chips with this hand, and we're fine. We're fine getting it all in, but we're only getting called by hands that have us crushed like aces and kings, or that we're in a flip against. Like there's no way ace queen calls this here. No way. They should fold this. Like just go like 175 and it gives the exact same result, but you get called by worse hands as well. Like if you go 175 and this guy has like I have jacks, I shove, and then this guy falls and we call anyway, we get the same results, right? Now he might fold jacks, and this guy with ace queen, but let's say we 3-bet, he folds and he calls, ace comes on the flop. We have this in guy's entire stack then, while normally he folds ace queen. So I don't know. I think a 4-bet is fine. I think a shove is a bit too greedy. Like just 4-bet him, because here we're only getting called by strong hands. So we had ace king. Like yeah, if you 4-bet there, he might even fold ace king. So the guy is pre-rolling us here, and he gets there. God damn it. Like even on this flop, like if we 4-bet and he just flats and this flop comes and we lead out again, he's gone. Like he's gone with his ace king. There's no way he calls it there. And if you 4-bet, he has to be really scared about what this guy has, so he's likely to fold there. While our shove comes across really weak. Like I don't think you should shove there. I think a 4-bet is fine. Like as I said, I would 4-bet myself, but shove is a bit nah. Don't do that there. I don't play both of them myself, but in PokerStars you can auto complete your stack. You should look into that if it's somewhere in the options. 8-9 offsuit, of course, in the small blinds. It's fine. Now you have to do it manually, but there should be an option somewhere where it auto completes yourself to the max buy-in. Saves you from all that hassle and having a hand where you don't have full stack. Pretty bad beat though, like shrug it off. Ace king versus ace king, guy gets a flush. Happens. I don't know about a6 not defending. 6 is pretty weak, guy limps. I don't like limpers. I'm willing to actually go to 20 here. A check is fine, like I'm not criticizing the check, don't worry about it. But like this guy's weak, and then the small blind just completes with any two, I guess, or like suited connectors and stuff like that. If you go to like 20, 25, one of the two might be gone, and we can we have pre-flop aggression. The problem, of course, is this guy having 45 cents being in there, and if you go to 20, he might shove, and we're priced in. I think it's fine. I think we have his range beat here. Flop totally misses us. Like, sure, we hit a 6, but it's bottom pair, top kicker, pretty draw heavy board. We're not gonna get anyone to fold with a bet, so we're just checking, yeah. And I just check fold as well. We're looking to improve, which you obviously have a hard time doing. Still would check, like, no, yeah, that's fine. Like, no need to lead out there. And the king is a scary card. Like, if a blank came, I might have bet, but the king is a bit of a scary card. I'm willing to check this as well. A lot had a speed, like this guy could bluff at it, but apparently they don't. Really? Guess a6 is good, huh? If you just look at it, like a6 was good there. What would have happened if you made it 20 pre-flop? They fold. Well, if this guy shoves up as you were priced in, there's no way we're folding. But these two are gone. Like I'm willing to, with a bunch of limpers and just having a weak ace on the big blind, just raise it up. I mean, sure, one might be slow playing, but I think it's a plus EV move in the long run. Ace jack here after a limper, so we obviously raise it up. I'm not sure about lowering our raise here. When we did a move like this previously with queens, we potted it. Obviously that had a raise and a call already. Here we have a limper. The guy now has to pay 12 to play a pot of 29. Like, he's gonna continue with a lot of hands here. While if we make it a bit higher, like I'd make it 20 at least. because if you consider that our range is better than his range, we just want to get more chips in. Here we can bluff the king, so standard bet, c bet, and he's gonna fold a lot. The 10 might be his range. Like, what does he float with? Flush draw, which we have beat. Maybe a weak king. Maybe he just has pockets. Doesn't believe us. Like, he could have like pocket 8s, pocket 9s. Where he limped with and then called with, so he doesn't believe we have a king, so we're just floating. If you check behind, he's gonna check again on the river, and then we bet, and he's gonna call because he doesn't believe us again. So I think a bet on the turn is fine here. We check behind, 10-10, a guy checks, we can't bluff at this anymore. Or he leads out even with his 9s, and we have no way to call this. Like, I think he can have 9s and 8s in the small pockets often enough there that we can bet on the turn. Like, double limping doesn't seem strong to me. 7-8 offsuit, it gets folded to us, so not really anything. Pocket 10s obviously raising, out of position especially. Here again, like, the guy has to pay 25 to win 50. We're out of position, we might want to make it a bit higher, but potting is fine. But indeed, the guy calls. Okay, so assume we're gonna check here because we're scared of these two cards. But the guy min raised and then called us. So that seems pretty weird, right? Like, why the min raise? Why doesn't it go to like 15 or 17 like we all do? So either it's a really strong hand or a mediocre hand. We are the pre-flop aggressor. I'd actually c bet this flop. Like, he can continue with an ace, fine. But he's gonna fold a decent amount of pocket pairs and suited connectors here. So I'm willing to bet here. Yep, that's fine. If he calls, we're obviously beat. If he raises, we're obviously beat. So I'd fold here. Make sure we have the 10 for the runner, but it's not worth it. With the call 37, sure. We just took a stab at the pop. I think that's fine. I think it's a decent play to make there. And a good fall as well to the min raise. Like, if it was a normal game, like not zone poker, I would actually take a note of that he went min raise under the gun, and stuff like that. Like, they went min raise under the gun, probably with a strong ace, or maybe even aces or kings could have that there. I've seen people do that. This is not a fault, of course. Pocket 5s, we're out of position, we have a raise there, a limp and a raise. I think a flat call is fine. If this guy didn't raise and this guy just, if they both followed, I might have raised this. But seeing that he raised and he raised, there's no need to blow the pot here and play 5s out of position. But if we make the call here, we're basically just set mining. Like, if a 5 doesn't come, we're check folding, I guess. So the limit is in, and this is a check fold. The thing why you would raise there is you have betting aggression. It increases your range, or it hides your hand a bit. Like, if then this flop comes and we then lead out, they can put us on a king pretty easily, like ace king, maybe even a decent pocket there. Not that scared of playing the king, and they can't continue at that point without the king, and we basically changed our hands into a sort of bluff. Like, if you only call there with 5s, it's or with pockets, it's not that great. But yeah, this is a standard fold. 10-7 plays decently post flop. Depends on if some limp. But yeah, just give the guy his blind back. Wow, how are people here with this amount of money? I just limp here. Like I don't. Yeah, it's fine. Everything's fine here. Except fold. I don't think fold is fine. But a raise is fine. This guy, you know, is way out of line. We can see bet this. We have a double gutter. Not just a single gutter and backdoor with an over. Over is usually good. Okay. So it's a very coordinated board. The guy called. The guy limped and called, so it definitely hits his range. So the check is not that bad, but I think I'd be willing to lead out here. He should also realize that it's a very coordinated board, or doesn't realize it, but should feel that there's a lot of combinations possible here, and can be scared pretty often. But now instead he leads out for a huge amount, and we're forced to fold here. Like, we gave up our aggression because we were a pre-flop raiser. Here, seeing the pot size, we probably just checked, which is fine. We now have gut shot to the 5 and the deuce. So I might bet here, yep. We get a call, a fold and a fold, I guess. And we totally miss, so here we have the option to turn our hand into a bluff, like the guy is calling with an 8 sometimes, maybe with a flush draw himself, and if we check we give him the possibility. It's fine giving this hand up, there's no shame in that though. Here button raise, a 3-bet is standard, I guess. And the guy should fold often. Yep. This was a steal attempt with 3-bet with a strong hand. We basically 3-bet there for value. 5-3 suited on the button, willing to play this, not to 4x raise though. I think 4x is a bit too high. So yeah. I mean, we can play it if we're confident with it, but I think a fold there is fine. A jack under the gun. It's 5-handed though, so. Okay, so this is a different situation, by the way. This guy button raises just like the previous guy. Might be a steal. I'd actually raise this and 3-bet this. Instead of flat calling. Like, what are we gonna do if we flat call and miss our 5? We check to this guy and he's gonna c-bet often, and we're just gonna fold. So we're just set mining here. Sure, we get the odds for that, but why just stop at that? Why wouldn't you go to like 45 or 0.45? Put pressure on this guy and say like, hey, do you have something? And then he can call. And if he... Okay, so first, if he call, this guy's priced in and calls as well. So we're playing 5s out of position against 2 guys. So we're check folding if we miss our 5. So that's basically the plan with the call, right? But if we raise this, we're basically asking here, hey, aren't you stealing? This guy either has to have a hand or he folds. So he folds. If he 4-bets us, we're obviously folding 5s, or we might be priced in, seeing that we're both pretty deep. So let's say we go to 45, he goes to like 120, we have to pay. That's 80, that's 75. We can make the call there, it's a bit close. Because we're not playing in a 4-bet pot with 5s out of position. But he might stack us if we hit our 5. So I think we then get the odds for that, but that's really close. That's for further thinking. But I think he folds often enough that we can 3-bet here, and we then have the betting lead. So if the board comes like ace queen 5 or something, and the guy has ace queen, he puts us on another ace, and he's stacking us off. Stuff like that. I don't think a call here is my preferred play. Like look at this board. Like, let's say we 3-bet this guy folds, this guy calls, and we lead out again. Like, we might just have the better hand. He could have ace king, ace queen, and totally miss this, and we might just be betting for value. And he either has hit the jack or he doesn't, and he folds his hand or throws it away. Like if he has aces, kings, he 4-bets anyway pre and we throw it away. But now we're out of position, we don't have the aggression, like leading out here makes no sense all of a sudden. We're up against two guys, so we're more scared of the check, and we're probably gonna check fold to c-bet. Get checked around, 3 comes, at least bet here, yep. Because the 3 doesn't make any difference. I have to be scared of this guy because he could be slow playing a jack and hoping that he previously calls. He calls, flush comes in, this is check fold time. King queen raise here is pretty good. Pretty normal, I guess. So this guy checks, he can bet here on the 9, pretty good bluff card. And we have to fold here. We're sitting out next hand here apparently. And it totally, oh, he had the 3. Yeah, see, this is what I mean. We got called by 5-3. How the hell did we get called by 5-3 there? Oh yeah, we gave him the odds. Like if he's definitely gone. Like if we 3-bet that, he's gone and he's gone. We just picked up the chips with pocket 5s, which we're happy with to play post flop, especially in that kind of flop, and we see better. And his king 10 is gone anyway, even if he called. So yeah, I think that hand I like with medium pockets, and in low pockets I like 3-betting. If the dealer opens, like if the cutoff or dealer button opens, it's a huge difference when someone from early position opens or someone from like if the under the gun opens, 3-betting there, out of position isn't that great because his range is narrower than the dealer, but the dealer opens a lot. The cutoff as well, but it's 6 max, so it's a bit different. And it's zone as well, so you have no reads on your opponents, of course. 6-10 fold. 8-5 here, limper so far. Ace jack suited, nice hand. We flop an open ender. I'm willing to lead it out. It misses our opponent's range often. So we opened with this and got a fold. This is a this is a really weird raise, right? So we already posted 6. We have to pay 24 to win 48, which is 1/3 of the time. The problem is if we make our so this we put this guy on like semi overpair, maybe an ace, a strong ace, but his limp makes no sense. So let's say he has pocket 7s. So if we hit our 6 or our ace, there's 4-2 straight on the board. We're not gonna get a lot of value out of this. We're gonna hit our straight 8 out of 40. There's 5 cards known, 47. So that's about 17%. So we need to get a really big return on the turn if we do hit our ace or our 6. I think with 4-2 straight we don't. So we should fold this. Because even if we call here and we miss the turn, we're not gonna get a free card because this guy's in position. If we check, he's never gonna check behind. You could raise him, like go over aggressive and get him all in. He isn't that deep stacked because we have some equity. Like if he just has ace 4, we actually have more life cards than we think we have. But I'd be willing to fold here. I think the lead out is fine. I would do the same thing sometimes. But then with this raise, which is really high, I would fold. Yep, that's fine. 10-5 off, that's gone. Eight six off. Interesting. We could have played that, I guess, but a fold is fine. Like, I don't think we're going out of line too often. Wow, what an open. That's way too high, 37. Where do people sometimes get these numbers, right? 10-6, limper previously, other limper, insta fold. Deuce 8 fold, yep. Ace king. 4 king is a fold, so ace king we have an open for middle position in the call. I would 3-bet this here, we're out of position. It's a standard squeeze play. I think that's fine. So fold. If he calls, he might call, but if he folds, he usually folds as well. So the first thing I do here is put him on ranges before I even see a flop. It's like, what does this guy open with and then calls? Probably an ace as well, ace queen. Might have medium pocket, but that's a weird call then to pay 50 with a medium pocket. Not having position, someone behind you to hack. This guy's range is a bit wider. Might be suited connectors, medium pockets, maybe even a weak ace like ace 10 suited. I think we can see with a lot of dry flops. We actually hit our ace. It's a draw heavy board, so I'm gonna lead out for like 135, something like this. Like we hit our ace, we can definitely rep it. But it's a draw heavy board. Be prepared to be floated often. Yeah, I think bet size is fine. Like, I just bet it really high because it's a draw heavy board. He folds, so he probably didn't have an ace then, and he folds. So managed to 3-bet for value and get floated by terrible hands for some odd reason. Queen 10 suited, flop the nuts. Okay, so this guy's a pre-flop aggressor, very draw heavy board. What's our plan here? We have noticed that when we lead out, people tend to raise us for some odd reason, and we're willing to get it all in here. If we lead out with draws and some kind of hands, we sometimes have to lead out with not hands as well. We don't really want to give a free card, like what if another diamond comes off? What are we gonna do if we see bets? Are we gonna raise him, or we're just gonna check call and get a free card? I think it's fine to let a free card come, but we want to get some value out of it. He opened, so the ace probably has hit him, and he might raise us. And then if we raise, we can then flat and get it all in on the turn. I think check calling here isn't what I do, but it's fine. It's fine. It's a pretty standard play that you would do with like ace 8 as well. The problem is that he can indeed check behind, and now we lead out, of course. Probably like 22 seems fine. 27. It's fine. It's a draw every board still. We're gonna get called by like ace king often. 5 doesn't make a difference, so lead out for like 72. No, don't ever do this. Don't ever overshove. Like, I'm not sure if you're gonna do that, but it comes across so bluffy, and we're never gonna get value out of it. I'm gonna rewind in a small second for the left table. I'm just gonna go over right table. Like, so we missed value on our first street because we didn't lead out. Now, I don't think with this kind of board that we're gonna get 3 streets of value often, like unless he has ace king or ace jack. So 2 streets of value is fine. Just lead out for like 60 or 70, and he's gonna call with like ace queen, ace 10. He's gonna call with that. He might even call with king jack, king queen maybe even, like, because we checked on the turn. It made no sense for us to then suddenly be betting on the turn and river for him. He might consider it a bluff. But then when we shove, he doesn't get the odds, and he's gonna fold way too often. So don't think a shove there. He's even close to good. For some odd reason he calls, and he actually has the same hand. Wow. But he was really long. But I don't see why would ever pot there. Like, outside of ace king and ace jack, and even those tend to fold, like nothing else is gonna call us, and or shouldn't call us. Anyway, back to the left hand. Here the button opens and we have ace queen suited. Again, 3-bet it. Like, it's a button that opens. We're most likely having the best hand. We're out of position. Then he has a betting lead. We're gonna fold on. We're gonna miss the flop like 2/3 of the time. What are we gonna do when we miss it? We're gonna check fold or check call with a float. Out of position. Not a fan of. 3-bet it. Guy might shove. We can find a fold then, I guess. Because it's still a decent amount. But then if the flop comes brick, we can lead out again, represent an overpair. He's gonna fold like suited connectors often enough. So on this flop we can then lead out. We have a backdoor, 2 overs, but now we have to check, I guess, because it suddenly makes no sense for us to be leading out here. Like look at this. Like, what are we repping here? We just flat from the big blind, and we have what, 2 spades? Is that what we're representing here? Like a small overpair, like pocket 9s, and or 2 spades. Like, I don't like our lead out here. We're gonna get floated often, and then what on the turn? Are we just gonna check and then fold to his bet? Like, so he has like, what does he call us with? And then checks on the turn behind, like a flush draw himself, or a small pair which we have beat, and then on the which beats us, and then the river we check again. So our bet on the flop makes just no sense. Yeah, 5 cents we have to be priced in. The guy has queen 5, so if we 3-bet it, he's just gone. Sure, we got more out of it because the guy can't play poker apparently, but I don't think. I think it's a losing play not to 3-bet, and then suddenly lead out on the flop. Like, if that flop comes, we check call. If you want to take the pot, we check call, and then lead out on turn if the turn is blanky. That's the correct play to steal that pot, because it makes no sense for you to suddenly lead out on this flop, outside of representing an overpair and double spades. I know your logic because I've muted the video, obviously, but that's my logic behind it. I think we 3-betted pre. And then we can see better on that flop. Ace 9, 6-handed, I would actually bet raise. Yep. Like 9-handed is a totally different story. But in the cutoff, even ace 9 is fine. We get fold to us. King deuce, limper before fold. Yep. King 9 suited, decent hand if you can open it. So it depends on these two actions. Like, if one limps, we might still open it, but then it's a bit more scary. Now we fold, of course, because this guy opened before us. But else, you were waiting, so I assume you're gonna lead out with King 9 suited there anyway. And this is the second time we face a min raise. We have a suited queen. If someone else calls, we can be priced in and actually call as well. We have to pay 1 big blind to win 5.5. So I'm fine with calling here. But we fold. I mean, both are fine if you're not confident in playing that hand. We have to pay 5 to win 20 with a gut shot. This is the second time we do this. And then we fold. Whoa. Why do we pay 5 and then to a min raise we automatically fold? We just get more odds. Why would he call? Okay, so we call the 5 here. We call the 5 here on a pot of 20. This guy min raises us, and then suddenly we're snap folding. Why? Why did we call the 5 and then are gonna fold to pay another 5? We're just calling here to get our gut shot for 2, right? Like, that's the only thing that makes sense here to call. Else you just fold this hand, be gone with it. And we never call the 5 anyway. If we feel like we're priced in to call the 5, we're definitely priced in to call the next 5 as well. So I don't like the fold if we call, and I would have preferred seeing a fold to this 5 if we are never gonna call this raise here. So that's a bit of a weird line taken there. Like, why pay the first 5 and not the second 5? We obviously don't know what this guy would have done. He might have raised us. Queen 10 in position might raise it up, but every move is fine here. I think we tend to do this to 17. Like, okay, this is a bit weird. When we open with hands like Ace Jack, we go to 17, and then with a hand like Queen 10 off, we go pot and then lower it. Our bet size betrays our hand, and that's not a good thing, because people can put you on ranges depending on your bet size. Like, if you go to 17, they're like, okay, he has a suited ace, ace king, ace queen, ace 10, ace jack suited maybe. And if we go to 12, they're like, okay, he has queen 10 offsuit, king 9 suited, king 10 offsuit, jack 10 suited maybe. I don't know what to do with suit connectors because we haven't seen any yet. But don't do this. Be more consistent or merge your ranges a bit more, but don't vary your bet size on the same hand the same way. Like here again, we pot and then minus. Here we pot and we then minus the same hand. So it betrays which hands we have. Plus, now we actually value them in a bit more. So yeah, here we flop the world. Here we flop a flush draw. Draw. So whoa. Okay. Again, we raised, guy dunks into us on this kind of flop. We have a decent equity hand. 5 cents is like, I have something, but I'm not sure. I want to get a free draw. Just raise this guy and say like, hey dude, we had pre-flop aggression. What the hell are you leading into me? Give me some information about your hand, or call me with a worse hand. We have great equity. We want to get some information as well. Now, there's never a reason to bet for information. Like, betting for information is wrong. It's not a correct statement. But I mean, his 5 cent is what they call block bet, and it makes no sense on this flop outside of him maybe having a jack or having a flush draw, and we suddenly give up aggression, which makes no sense either. Our hand is fine because we have an open ender. I just raise it up there, basically ask this guy, hey man, do you actually have anything here? Here we were the pre-flop aggressor, guy double limped, we flop top set, well, not a set, top trips, and he dunks into us. So dunk into us is something we did as well with like ace queen. So this guy probably doesn't have anything. I'd like a flat here. Sure, if a club comes, we're a bit scared, but there's no point in raising here because we scare away too many hands. Yeah, okay. So a raise here causes him to fold all of his bluffs. We might be raising for value, but I don't see a lot of worse hands calling us outside of a flush draw. Maybe jack 10. There's it's a pretty weird move there to be raising. Just call and see what it does. Of course, we had a previous aggression, so we bet here as well. And if he calls, we'll probably even beat. I know it sounds weird, but we probably are. I check behind here if he checks. Just check behind, there's no point in betting. We're only gonna get called by a better hand. No. Okay, so let's evaluate here. He leads out, we raise, he calls. He checks, he calls. So he either has a busted flush draw, or he has a 10. There are some worse 10s that call us like 10-9, but 10 jack and 10 queen, 10-8 just got there. The guy double limped, he could even have pocket fours or something. I don't think we're gonna get called by worse often. Like missed flush, he's gone. Maybe if he hit jack, like ace jack, ace jack of clubs, might call here, but I don't think we bet here. I think we just check behind, because this guy just check called us twice. Wow, we're doomed. Wow, the guy didn't have his beat and he called her. Well, I guess I overestimate my opponent sometimes. I don't know if you can actually see what this guy had, but I'd be pretty interested in what he calls with. Like, as I said, I check behind because I don't see a call by a lot of worse hands. Like 10 jack has a beat, 10 8 has a beat, 10 4 has a beat. Missed flush draws, fold. If they hit a jack, they might call. Like if they had ace jack of clubs, as I said, then they might have check called on the turn and then call here. We did make our hand seem really bluffy with the overbet. Again, I'm not a fan of overbetting. But we did make it seem like a really big bluff. But I think we're gonna get called by way better often. And I don't like our raise on the flop as well. Like the guy leads out, he has an insane amount of bluffs in his range on that board, just like we did with the ace queen, which I found wrong as well, by the way. Like he probably has like a mediocre pair. Fact that he called twice pre-flop, so maybe nines. That could be it. Like queens, kings, aces seems very unlikely to have their and jacks and eights as a beat, so nines and sevens maybe. That would make sense to then call, but then when the jack comes and we lead out again, then that's a weird call all of a sudden, and especially the call in the river. So I don't know. I don't know about the river bet. I probably wouldn't. I just check behind. Obviously we gain information on our opponent, but it doesn't matter here because it's anonymous. Queen 7 suited fold, fine. King jack limper, queen jack limper before us. We have middle position. Okay, it's over apparently, but I'd be willing to fold that. Anyway, hope you learned something from it. So for me, the shove with the ace king early on was a bit weird. We probably should have 3-bet that, 4-bet that to make a squeeze, and be fine with getting it all in. Like, sure, it was a bad beat, but I don't think shoving there is the correct play. And then the not 3-betting with the 5s there, and not 3-betting with the ace queen there, and then suddenly leading out was a bit weird. I think the rest of the hands are fine. Just some small things that I would do different. Doesn't mean that they are correct. Oh yeah, and then especially calling with gut shots in weird and taking weird lines there. Like calling with the gut shot with 4-3 for 5 cents, and then suddenly folding when some guy min raises us. When we still have the very same hand, the gut shot, and even get better routes with our 5 cents. Anyway, hope you learned something from it, and if you have any feedback, please let me know.